Okay, so when I decided to stop drinking, I was the only person I knew in my circle, in my family, in my friends who did not drink. And I didn't really know how to go about doing it. All I knew is like, that thing, that substance is fucking my life up. And I've spent now however many years, 13 years, 14 years drinking, and slowly realizing that I need to get it out of my life, at least try. This comes from my own experience of the first 30 days, the first month of not drinking. I decided to stop drinking at the age of 25 or 26 years old. It was probably one of the best decisions I have ever made for myself in my entire life, contrary to what I actually thought would happen. In my mind, the way I always saw people who decided to stop drinking were like alcoholics, right? Like people that were severely alcoholics and they had gone to rehab or really had just like lost their shit and they couldn't function. And then there was like the rest of the society who could drink like normally. And for me, I didn't really identify with either of those. You know, I wasn't drinking every single night. I didn't go to rehab. I never had any of that experience. So it was kind of like this weird middle ground. So what I did and what I recommend for you guys is to first and foremost, just like commit to that. Like you really have to just decide, okay? So if you're gonna decide to stop drinking for, let's say, a month or forever, and this is gonna be that first whack at it, you gotta decide. There's not gonna be any sips or, you know, little drips of alcohol here and there. You know, it's not going to happen. That's the mindset. Okay, so first and foremost, you have to decide. If you need help to actually stick with it, create a contract with a best friend, with a family member. If you want to do it with me even, you can message me on Instagram. I'm happy to do it. You know, it involves money, so I'm not necessarily encouraging that, but if you don't have anybody, I can be that person. And what the contract is basically saying that if you drink, you will pay X amount of dollars to that other person. And for me, I put the number pretty high, you know, like what's gonna hurt enough to where I don't actually drink. So I am doing one of those right now for something different, and I have it at $150. Maybe if you think that you would break that, maybe put it at $500. Regardless, that's kind of a tool that you can use to actually, like, you know, get yourself to stick to the decision. So that's the first thing, okay? The second thing is I would completely abstain from going out with the homies for at least this first month, these first 30 days. This is an entirely new lifestyle that you're about to introduce to yourself. And so it's very possible to go out and make this happen, but it's gonna be so much harder, and there's the potential that you might slip up because you're used to your old program and you're used to your own patterning. So for me, when I decided to stop, I completely stopped going to the bars for that month. I completely stopped going to pre-games for a month. I completely stopped hanging out with the people, you know, that I knew were gonna go out. I completely stopped doing that because I just knew that it was gonna like basically catapult me into this place of like choosing alcohol or not, and just that sucks. So just don't go out. Like completely separate yourself from the environment. That's what I'm trying to say, is separate yourself from the old environments that you know you're gonna drink at. The third thing I would say is tell just one person, some like trusted source, and then keep it to yourself. That's exactly what I did. And the reason I told one person was basically to be like, get the words out. Meaning I said, I don't drink anymore to one person, and that was like it. But everybody else, I didn't say a thing to, because I needed to be comfortable with my own new like identity. That's kind of what you're doing. What I was doing is crafting an entirely new identity for ourselves that does not include the substance that we've kind of always had around and been taught to have around. So maybe for you, that's like a partner. I wasn't dating anybody at the time when I stopped drinking, but I told a coworker, and the coworker was definitely not one of my best friends, but it was it became this person who at least like knew that was what I was doing, and I said the words. But like I said, I didn't tell any of my other friends, I didn't tell my family, I didn't tell anybody at all. Actually, I think I take it back. I think I told my dad, and he didn't take it seriously, but I said it and it was kind of in passing, and that was it. For you though, like if you need someone to be there and like hold you accountable, like tell somebody, tell a homie, one person, but keep it tight because you are about to go on like a new life experience. It's gonna be sick, it's gonna be cool, but you wanna make this about you and your opinion of you, not other people weighing in on it or making you talk about it or making you have to explain it or making you feel weird about it or they feel, there's just so many different variables that come from telling other people that you wanna control that new environment, at least for now. The fourth thing that I would look at doing is start to actually create a plan for yourself for nighttime when you may normally go out and party and drink and stuff. So let's say you're gonna do this for the month, right? I would pick a thing to do, let's say on every Friday or every Saturday that you know you're gonna stick with a week in advance and then stick with it, okay? So like for me, I would go over to my friend's house. She and her girlfriend were kicking it. We would just watch movies and talk. That's like what we would do. And I knew I was gonna do that. And I knew that it was gonna be something that we were planning on that Friday. And I knew, that was where I was gonna be. I didn't have to worry that I was gonna get like pulled into something that would make me decide to go against my plans of not drinking and then actually drink. But I was choosing environments to make these plans with that were like environments that involved depth. So like, I was capable of having deep conversations, having deep connections, having fulfilling conversations is what I'm really going for here, I think. So go ahead and find those places that you can find that. It's not, if you can't find that, if you're not finding conversation with people, watch documentaries at home. Watch interesting stuff that you're interested in. If you don't have anything you're interested in, find something you're interested in. That might be because you spent so much of your time drinking that you don't really even know your interests right now. And that's totally cool. Like that's part of this process. But take the time to set up your Fridays and your Saturdays to know exactly what you're about to do a week in advance and then stick with it, and then you won't be tempted to go back into your old environment and kind of repeat old patterns. And finally, if you guys are considering a life without drinking, you are gonna do this 1 month thing, you're gonna make it happen, for permanently, whatever it is. Totally up to you and your decision for how you want to live your life. Try to find somebody who is like-minded. It took me probably 2 years to find anybody that was like-minded. And that person literally just like popped up out of nowhere. And to this day, I'm so thankful for him. He's one of my favorite people on this planet. And I respect him so much. And we have so much in common and so much to talk about outside of alcohol and with alcohol, but it's somebody to relate to. So right now, that might be nobody in your life, right? And that's what this channel is for, is to create a place for people who have decided to potentially live a life without drinking to have a home. And so if you are one of those people, but you don't have somebody around you, message me. I'm happy to talk with you on Instagram. Go ahead and drop a comment on this video, and likely somebody in there will want to message you as well and connect. See if you can find other groups that would create opportunities for you to meet new people. There's an application called the Phoenix, and this is for a place for people to go if they're not drinking to do like activities. My experience is that there's a kind of all levels there. So what I mean is like there's people that are pretty severe addicts, and then there's people that are not so severe, but it's kind of a mixed bag, but it's there if you want to give it a shot. Go to meetups, go to just meetups that are for like sober groups basically, and see if you can find a person there. But just start actively searching. If you don't find somebody, don't get discouraged. This is something that's like a new and up and coming conversation. I really believe that not drinking is becoming more and more and more prominent in society, because I think people are all starting to wake up to how just fucked up alcohol really is. And trust me, I was the party girl. I loved to go out. I was the girl who shut the bar down. I, loved giving shots. I always was, going out and partying and all that stuff. I don't hate on it whatsoever. Most of the people in my life still do drink, the family and friends, and I love them. And literally to each his own. There's no judgment whatsoever for people who have decided to keep drinking or not, so long as they're like happy and healthy, right? But I do believe in society that there is this slow kind of like burgeoning of people who are realizing that alcohol ain't it, and that it is just really a product that has been marketed to us as something that makes our lives better, makes us happier, makes us have more fulfilling connections and relationships, more or less that it needs to be present for everything we do. And we're starting to see that that's actually not the case, because it's kind of the opposite of what we think. Alcohol in the long run is actually robbing us of all of that stuff. at least in my experience, in the experience of the people that, you know, have decided to stop drinking. Plus, it just makes me feel real shitty when I'm hungover. So if you are considering this life, just know you're not alone. If you're in your 20s, know you're a badass, and it's not weird to stop drinking, and you should totally own it, because I think people would admire you for it. If you're in your teens, that's so dope. I wish I would have decided to stop drinking in my teens, but you know, more power to you. 30s, you know, I'm gonna be 30 pretty soon here. Just that's a whole new time to decide who you want to be. 40s, 50s, 60s. It is for everybody who's deciding to make this change. Just know there's nothing but good things on the other side of it, and there are other people out there that are like you, that are making this decision because they want a different and a better life for themselves. I really hope you guys got something out of this video. If you liked it, please do like it, so other people who might need to see it can see it with the YouTube algorithm and get it out there. If you are interested in living a life without drinking and basically breaking this matrix that we're stuck in of companies feeding us this programming and, you know, wanting to find other like-minded people, go ahead and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, any questions, like I said, if you want to find other people who might be like you, go ahead and comment below, or message me on Instagram if you're feeling lonely and a little isolated. Definitely always there to chat with anybody if you're feeling like that. So I hope you guys got something out of this, and I will talk to y'all later. See ya.